It is a tough week for members of the Houston Police Department. A day after two of their officers are ambushed, leaving one dead, we're learning the son of an officer was killed in an overnight shooting.
The teen was found along a walking trail near the intersection of North Kings Mill Lane and Pauldron Drive. KPRC2's Brandon Walker has been following the story since our morning broadcast and joins us with some new developments he's learned since that time. Brandon?
Including what you mentioned, Lisa, the son of an HPD officer. Right now, the search for clues continues. Investigators with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office here on scene at the very spot where this young man lost his life last night.
You know what? A lot of places down there in Texas that look like nice areas have a lot of gun violence. I can't tell the hoods from the upscale neighborhoods in these pictures and these shots. I just can't tell. I mean, I have to do research and find out, the rent, how much the rent costs, and crime in the neighborhood. Go to Niche and a lot of different apps, Area Vibes. But just from looking, you can't tell in Texas.
Right now, the search for clues continues. Investigators with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office here on scene at the very spot where this young man lost his life last night.
Saddened to hear about it.
Jose Briones didn't sleep last night. Couldn't sleep since he heard the gunshots.
So I thought it was very distant.
But they were across the street on a path leading to the trail that hugs Wagner Pond, where this morning goings-on went. Steps from where a 14-year-old male lost his life.
I feel bad because he's a 14-year-old kid. I have a 15-year-old son myself, so I was kind of on edge. I'm on edge right now.
The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says last night at around 8:30, a woman heard gunshots, then saw several males run.
See, I wouldn't know whether this was Hombritos or Sun People, but I'm starting to think it's Sun People because they keep talking about males. Male this, male that. Like, someone was killed. A 14-year-old was killed. No one's in custody. Obviously, the residents of the community are shaken up and terrified. You're reporting about it on the news. You want to give us a little information about these guys who killed this 14-year-old and have a community in fear? Or are you just going to keep calling them males?
The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says last night at around 8:30, a woman heard gunshots, then saw several males run in the Kings Mill subdivision.
She continued her walk, and she came upon an unresponsive black male lying on the sidewalk who suffered from multiple gunshot wounds.
Who shot him? Why? His identity? All on release this morning by the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, which is leading the investigation. HPD this morning confirmed the 14-year-old is the son of an HPD officer, while New Caney ISD expressed sadness for the loss. Quote, additional counselors are available to students as needed.
Okay, so he's the son of a HPD officer. Listen, man, being an officer in the community, I grew up good friends with some guys who were sons of Metropolitan DC Police Department officer. One turned out to be a preacher, and one did 17 years in the can, in the joint. It's rough being the son of a cop in a community where cops are looked at as, no, let me change that, where cops are scapegoated, because these people in these communities know that cops ain't the ones killing. Let's just keep it real. These people in these communities know daggone well that it's not cops are killing them. But cops are scapegoated, and cops are, they take they basically take the blame for all the ills in the community. And if your dad's a cop and you go to the public school and you hang in the neighborhood and your friends, you're on the team at the rec center. And kids are, and it's the Sun community, so kids are, they're doing things, you know, that normal kids don't do in other communities. And you want to fit in. A lot of times you'll go above and beyond the call of duty and get yourself jammed up in a lot of bad situations. So I sympathize with the 14-year-old. I knew that he had to, be out there, and he probably felt that he had to, be in the street. It's because his dad's a cop, so he got to mitigate. He got to mitigate that. He got to counterbalance that with showing that he's really, down and whatnot. And the only way you can prove you're down is to be a criminal or thug. Like, there's no other way. Like, you can't. There's no other. You're gonna do the honor roll. That ain't gonna prove you down. I mean, community service, they ain't gonna prove you down. Being respectful, that's not, none of that stuff. Only thing that proves that you're down is being a thug and a criminal or gang member. And this young man paid the ultimate cost at 14. Yikes.
Meantime, investigators return to the trail at daybreak, hoping light will reveal new clues about what happened. They also hope surveillance video will do the same. This as neighbors try to make sense of a killing that just doesn't.
I couldn't sleep last night. Woke up early this morning. Woke up my son at 5 in the morning and just hugged him.
Now, as you noticed, most of the people you see are hombritos. And you see the dad's in the home. As with this kid, but the violence in this neighborhood that happened was son violence. And it's just crazy like that. No matter how few the numbers are, no matter how skewed the demographic is, how much of the minority we are in any community, neighborhood, ward, district, borough, township, city. No matter how small our numbers, how big the other groups are in numbers. When there's a shooting, come on, y'all. Hit one. No matter how many of them are there. If there's a shooting, who you thinking did it? And who you think laying on the ground or being rushed to the hospital?
And as investigators continue their search for answers here, they want you to chime in if you could. Anyone with information that could prove helpful, you're asked to give the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office a call. Live in Kingwood, I'm Brandon Walker, KPRC 2 News.
Right now, a man is behind bars accused of firing shots at a family. 4 people were hit by the bullets in southwest Miami-Dade. 2 of the victims are young children.
Firing shots at a family. 2 of the victims hit were young children. And that is a completely cut and paste headline. It's almost as if there's a factory printing out that specific headline. That's how common that headline is. And sisters is out in the streets. And some of y'all sisters get, why are you always talking? I show you the proof. They're out in the streets protesting all the Hit one if you saw the video of the sister in North Carolina, Charlotte, who just got a bill passed, the criminal justice reform bill passed in Charlotte 2 weeks ago. So when I say these things about pasty liberals and sisters, and y'all getting comment, well, they're literally changing the laws still as we speak in every city, in every town. While this is going on all day, all night, all evening, 24/7 everywhere. And there's one group that's doing it. The group that they want to reform the system for.
Right now, a man is behind bars accused of firing shots at a family. 4 people were hit by the bullets in southwest Miami-Dade. 2 of the victims are young children.
And this morning, we're learning more about what led to this violence. Local 10's Madeline Wright is live from West Miami-Dade. Madeline.
Good morning, Eric, JC. Yeah, the public needs to help end the gun violence is the message that police are getting across. And this morning, the suspect is waking up behind bars here at the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center. He's charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. Miami-Dade police say 30-year-old Alfonso Amaker is the gunman who shot and injured 4 people at a house on Pierce Street. The victims are a 4-year-old girl, 6-year-old boy, 28-year-old woman, and 42-year-old man.
Whenever one person gets shot, it's something that as a community, it not only angers me, but it breaks my heart. And when you add the component of children, innocent children, to this type of tragedy, it takes it to a whole new level.
It all started at a family gathering around 2 o'clock yesterday morning. Police say an argument broke out in the roadway in front of the house, during which the 28-year-old victim pulled out a gun and pointed it toward the ground. Police say after she put the gun away and the victims began walking toward their car, Amaker pulled out his gun and started shooting.
So, the woman, there was an argument at a family gathering. The woman pulled out her gun, pointed it at the ground, and then walked away. Listen, you never produce your firearm unless you're going to shoot it. Now, I get it. There's certain circumstances, there's always an exception. Always. However, you're with your family at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old with you, 2 o'clock in the morning. You're in the stand, the Sun Belt, the community, and you just pulled a gun on a homie, and you just gonna put it away and walk away? And listen, I will say this. Homies, hood dudes, they gonna talk in threatening manner, such a threatening manner that if you do have a gun on you like she did, you might pull it to just be like, back off, or just to show a force, or just to be like, get yourself out of the situation. Like, well, I got a gun, man, back up off me. I get that. Like, the language, the rhetoric, as they talk about with Trump, the rhetoric be so like gangster and so like threatening and intimidating that if you have a gun, you may pull it. But in this situation, she pulled it, she put it away, she turned her back and walked away. It didn't.
It all started at a family gathering around 2 o'clock yesterday morning. Police say an argument broke out in the roadway in front of the house, during which the 28-year-old victim pulled out a gun and pointed it toward the ground. Police say after she put the gun away and the victims began walking toward their car, Amaker pulled out his gun and started shooting. After the 28-year-old woman was shot, she took out her gun again and returned fire. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue transported all 4 shooting victims to the hospital.
One of the victims went to Jackson South, and the other 3 victims, I believe the female and the 2 children, went to Kendall Regional Medical Center. Everyone is in stable condition.
Police say a maker took off after the shooting, but they caught up with him later in the day. Witnesses identified him as the suspect. Cops say he admitted his involvement.
Okay, this is a touchy case right here because if she pulled out a gun, and okay, the story is she put it away. If I'm him, I'm saying, no, she didn't put it away. I pulled out my gun and started shooting at her. Now, there's probably going to be footage or anything, maybe footage of witnesses around to refute that. However, he may have a case here. Florida is a stand your ground state. And as I showed you in the video I did about a month ago, the vast majority of the Florida stand your ground cases, people that beat cases with the Florida stand your ground law, the vast majority of them are Sunmen because that's who's doing all the shooting down there. So he may have a stand your ground case, considering she pulled the gun first. And we'll see if he goes that route or if there was a long gap, a substantial gap between the time she pulled her gun, put it away, and then he pulled his gun, or maybe he went to retrieve the gun. I don't know. But he may have a stand your ground case in this situation. Still, at the end of the day, you shot 2 kids, which is going to make that extremely difficult. Had he just shot her, maybe, clearly it would be stand your ground, more clearly. But it's going to be very hard having shot the 2 kids. Like, reckless. That was reckless. You know, discharging of a firearm in public. Also, assault on those 2 kids, on a child under such and such age. So, now that I think about it, I think the stand your ground is out the window.
Cops say he admitted his involvement.
We want to do everything, not just as a department, but as a community, to reduce and to eliminate the gun violence.
Back live at the jail, the suspect is expected to appear before a judge in bond court sometime today. If you'd like to read his 2-page arrest affidavit, you can find it on my Facebook page at MWrightWPLG. Also follow me for updates on Instagram and Twitter. Live in West Miami-Dade, Madeline Wright, Local 10 News.